Good evening, everyone. I just got in from work and I wanted to put out a video real quick and give y'all an update on what's happening in the world. This is CBN News. It's the Christian Broadcast Network that reports on things that's going on in Jerusalem. And I've got from the UN website too, and from the Jerusalem Post, all verifying this, and it's all over the news. It's as electronic devices belonging to Hezbollah members exploded for a second day, leaving Lebanon in panic. It says, meanwhile, against the backdrop of Israel's war against Hamas and Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Remember these two places, Gaza and Lebanon, because I'm gonna show you some biblical scriptures where this war that's happening right now is definitely biblical prophecy that's happening. It says the United Nations voted, this was yesterday, overwhelmingly on Wednesday, that Israel must leave the biblical lands of Judea, Samaria, and including part of Jerusalem, and turn it over to the Palestinians. They are trying to force a two-state solution on them. They've given them 12 months to leave all of the areas that was pre 1967 borderlines. Everything that they won in that 196 or not 64 but 67 borders, everything that they won in that war, that land that they reclaimed back, they're trying to force them to give it back to the Palestinians. But anyway, and then going on down, which I'm sure y'all's probably done heard all about the pagers exploding, wounded thousands, and then the next day it was a bunch of walkie-talkies. So it's sent a terrifying wave of explosions, has brought Lebanon to a standstill. And they're blaming Israel for all of that, saying that Israel's the one that caused all of the explosions to happen over there. And then also on top of that, it says there was an Iranian plot to assassinate Israel's leaders. And remember, whenever I had there were several dreams. I did a video on it of I seen on the news where Prime Minister Bibi was dead and Israel was mourning his death. So we need to pray for Prime Minister Bibi, and pray for his salvation too, that he will see who Jesus is. But and pray for his safety. It says, in the aftermath of the Lebanon explosions, Israel announced it had thwarted a Iranian plot to assassinate top Israeli leaders. The police and Shin Bet security agency released a joint statement Thursday revealing that they had arrested an Israeli citizen who Iran had recruited to promote the assassination of the Prime Minister Bibi. It says Defense Minister Gallant and Shebet Chief Bar, along with other senior figures. It says we need to pray for all of these people that they're that Iran is putting a hit on. And we know that Hezbollah and we know Hamas and those ones that's down in Yemen, those are all Iranian proxies. They fight for Iran in these other countries. And then so we've got that going on. They foiled that and put a stop to it. And then down here, UN demands Israel's abandoned biblical lands of Judea and Samaria. So it's like talking about in Samaria, the West Bank, and eastern Jerusalem, otherwise dividing Jerusalem in two pieces within the next 12 months. The vote was 124 to 14. 124 countries voted for this, and 14 went against it. I don't know who exactly on which side was doing what, but I mean, we know some of the countries that was voting for it, but I'm not sure exactly. We haven't got the tallies yet of all the different countries. I'm hoping the United States was not in this 124, because you remember the warning that I gave out about America, their hand with that solar eclipse video, that very first one that I did. I will link it into the description box so you can see what God Himself said that is going to happen to the United States if we have any hand in this at all. It's very, very important, because the United States will be cut in two pieces if we have a hand in any of this. So, and it looks like they're going to try to force the hand of Israel to do this. And if something happens to Bibi, they will succeed, because Bibi is the only thing that has been stopping a two-state solution all of these years, to where they will or divide that land up and give it to the Palestinians. So we definitely need to pray for him. So over here, let me go through these other ones real quick. This is from the Jerusalem Post. It says UN votes 124-14 to strip Israel's right to self-defense in Gaza and West Bank. Because it not only are they calling to divide it, but look at this down here. So the text of the resolution was based on the International Court of Justice advisory opinion in July that Israel's occupation of Palestine territory was illegal. It says prior to the vote, the UN Secretary General said he supported the option and would abide by the vote, which calls on the IDF to withdraw to the pre-1967 lines within 12 months. And then over here on the UN, this is on their website. UN General Assembly demands Israel end unlawful presence in occupied Palestine territory. And it is not unlawful presence. They won all of that in a war. And it only took 6 days with the hand of God to be able to get that land back and return to them. It belongs to Israel. It doesn't belong to the Palestinians. I know there's a lot of people that will argue that, and I'm not even going to argue it. I may even turn the comments off of this video by the time it's over with. I'm standing on the biblical, what God says about it. And we're going to go over that in the biblical, what God says about all this. I mean, we are watching Bible prophecy play right out in front of us. It says the resolution calls for Israel to comply with the international law and withdraw its military forces, immediately cease all new settlement activity, and evacuate all settlers from the occupied land, and dismantle parts of the separation wall as it was constructed inside the occupied West Bank. And seeing just a couple of days ago, Spain held a big meeting, and a whole bunch of them with Saudi Arabia, and a bunch of them, which I know Saudi Arabia voted for this. And I've been telling everybody to watch that Saudi prince. And he voted for it too, for this to all happen like this. But they're also in the it says that and it says, and did dismantle parts of the separation wall it constructed inside the occupied West Bank. They want them to drop all of their walls. And remember, for the Magog War to happen, the Magog War will happen after the Antichrist confirms the covenant of peace and land for peace. It will happen afterwards. And remember, in that prophecy in Ezekiel 37 and 38, it says that they will be without walls. And they're wanting all of the walls to pull them down, dismantle them. And then that's whenever Russia and Turkey and a whole bunch of them, Iran and all of them, is going to go after Israel, and then God's going to step out in and take care of them. He's going to obliterate them. Probably with some kind of major natural disaster over there, probably. Uh, it doesn't specify, it just says God will take care of it. But anyway, but they're also wanting to bind all of the other countries of not being able to give any military assistance to Israel, like to where they won't be able to help them out with any military arms or anything like that, or the other countries will get in trouble. I mean, they're trying to force this. All right, so let's go look at the Bible and see what God has to say about all this, what his Bible prophecy. We're going to start in Joel 3:1. All right, it says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." Otherwise, divided it up. It says, "They have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. It says, Yea, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon and the coast of Palestine?" Okay, pay attention to these three names right here. I'm going to show you where they're at, where he's talking about. Let's go back over here. Zidon is a city in Lebanon. Tyre is a city in Lebanon. The coast of Philistine is down here. See Gaza? This is an old biblical map. This is the Philistine states right here. See Tyre and Sidon, which is also spelt with a Z too, not just an S. It's either Zidon or Sidon, depending on how it's pronounced. Like in the Greek, it was with the S, and it's now with the S too for modern day. But it's still the same place. But there's your biblical map. Gaza and Lebanon. Okay, who's fighting right now against Israel? This is back whenever they had the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. Back in like a long time ago. This is the old biblical areas and names. Okay, and who's Israel fighting against right now? They're fighting against Hezbollah up here in Lebanon. And then down here, Hamas in Gaza. So let's go back to the scriptures, what he says about these three places. These two are Lebanon, O Tyre and Zidon. He links them together, this Lebanon. So he's saying, O Lebanon, and all the coast of Palestine, which is Gaza. Says, will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own head. Because you have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem. And look where Judah's at. Judah and then Jerusalem. Okay, and they've been having problems with West Bank too. Judah's down here. Remember Gaza went in, kidnapped all of these people in Judah at the kibbutz, the farming people that lived in all the little communities down here and farmed the land. They were just regular civilians. That would be like farmers in the United States, like just that took care of the land and grew things and had had farms and stuff. All right, back to the scriptures. All right. And have sold them unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. So it's going to get worse. What we're seeing, it's going to get worse because they've already took captivity of a bunch of them in Judah. And it says, Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them and return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabeans, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. This was proclaim this among the Gentiles. Prepare for war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, because thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. It says, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be a hope for his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So ye shall know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. And then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall be no more strangers pass through her anymore. Otherwise, God's going to take care of it. He's going to take care of it. They're going to be in some deep trouble, though, let me tell you. I would not want to be on that side of the fence for nothing. For what God's going to do with them. What does it say in Zechariah 12? Let's read this a minute here. It says, the burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens and layeth the foundation of the earth and formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about. And who's that? It's all the nations that's around her especially. When they shall be in siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And whenever they go in against Judah and Jerusalem, this is probably talking about too whenever, because it's starting out with Lebanon and with Gaza. But it's causing all these other countries to want, I mean, they're either saying we're going to force them to have peace, and then whenever that peace, it's going to cause the Magog war to happen, and then all of Israel's they're going to be coming in after all of Israel. So, but they're in siege right now. It says, and in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, the whole earth. It says, all that burden themselves, that's everywhere, with it shall be cut in pieces. And remember what I seen in that dream. I seen the New Madrid, basically I didn't even know the New Madrid even existed. I seen a sword come out of the sky, and it cut southern Missouri all the way down to the Gulf, and then it hit it again right in the same spot and cut all the way up to the Great Lakes. It was cut in two pieces. And the Lord said, if they divide my land, I will divide their nation. So, like literally, and it says right here, cut in pieces. And it was a sword that did it, that came out of heaven. It says, though all the people of the earth shall be gathered together against it. And we're seeing the whole earth gathering against Israel. We're seeing protesters all in the streets in all these different nations, not just here in the United States, but all over the world protesting against Israel. It says, in that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment and his rider with madness. And I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts, their God. It says, and in that day I will make the governors of Judah like the hearth of a fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. It says, the Lord shall save the tents of Judah first, and the glory of the house of David, and the glory and the habits of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. And in that day the Lord shall defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. He that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. I mean, God's not playing. He's not playing. He is not playing around. Okay, let's look over here in the book of Daniel, what the book of Daniel says. Okay, this is right here. This is talking about the abomination of desolation that is going to happen in the future with the Antichrist. Okay, and if you read Matthew 24, Jesus talks about that whenever he was instructing the disciples about the last generation and about the great tribulation that is to come and all the stuff that was going to happen. And we'll go through that here in a minute too, but I want to read this first. It says, for the ships of Chitman, which sometimes it's pronounced Kitman. Some translations will say Kittim in it, Kittim. And it's the islanders of the Mediterranean Sea, specifically Capri, the island of Capri. So let me come over here and I'll show you exactly where it's at so that you can kind of get a idea of what the scriptures are talking about. It's this little island right here. And anybody that knows this island right now, it is divided up in 3 areas. You've got this whole top part up here is owned by Turkey up here. That's the whole top of this island right here at the top is owned by Turkey. This bottom part, all down in here, in the middle, and this part is all here. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit. But you can see it's right off from Lebanon and Syria and Jerusalem. Israel's down here. But let me zoom in so you can see where I'm talking about, where the borders. Maybe it'll show the borders. Let me zoom back out a little bit. Okay, right here where these lines are at right here, this is the lines that divides it. This top part up here is with Turkey. Okay, now this bottom part, all of this is from Greece owns all of this over here. Okay, now this little bitty part right here, this is still, who is it that owns that? It's like the British or it's somewhere in Europe that owns this. I think it's Britain maybe that still owns this and has this territory right here. And they've got a lot of military, like Europe's got a lot of military right here that they keep stationed right in that area so that there's always somebody on hand for Israel right here in this area. They keep ships. There's like Air Force type planes and everything else. So now let's go back to the scriptures, what it says. It says, for the ships of Chitman shall come against him. I'm talking about the Antichrist. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do, even shall he even return and have intelligence with him that forsake the holy covenant. And the arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary's strength and take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that makes desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant he shall corrupt by flatteries, but a people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword, by the flame, by captivity, and spoil many days. And when they shall fall, they shall be hoppened with little help, and many shall cleave to them with flatteries. And with them of and some of them of understanding shall fall, and to try them, to purge and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is not yet for appointed time. Because whenever this was written, he was telling Daniel, it's not for not until yet for appointed time. But it's talking about the end, the time of the end. It says, and the king shall do accordingly to his will. It's talking about the Antichrist will do accordingly to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against God, the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. And for that it is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers still shall not he honor with gold, silver, and precious stones and pleasant things. It says, thus shall he do. It says, in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. This gain means for a price or a reward. There's going to be something in it for the Antichrist whenever they divide the land. It says, and at the time of the end, the king of the south shall push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also in the glorious land, talk about Israel, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. It says, he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over treasures, gold, silver, and all precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go with great fury to destroy, and utterly make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. And yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. So this is the abomination that makes desolate that Jesus was talking about. So now let's go. Hang on just a second. Let me see. Where's that at? Okay. So now let's go over here to Matthew 24, where he was talking about it and how it all links together. Because this is where Jesus, remember we went over these in some other, where nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, the beginning of birth pains. And then it comes down here talking about the abomination. Where's it at? Right here. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, that's where we was just at, was in the book of Daniel, stand in the holy place. We just read about that. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let them which are on the housetop not come down or take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So, I mean, we're seeing this stuff starting to play out. I mean, we're really like getting close. Everybody just stay close to the Lord, stay in repentance, and be obedient to the Lord. Because, man, you want to be on the right side whenever all this stuff starts like really, really coming unglued. Because we don't want to be like all in the middle and be on the, or on the wrong side. Maybe this is another reason why, God's been addressing all of the churches, because we're getting close. We're getting very, very close. I just wanted to jump on here real quick, though, and I wanted to let y'all know what's going on, because this is crazy. I can't believe that the United Nations is trying to force them into dividing that land up. And like I said, let's go over here real quick, though, because I want to actually show you. Let me get this pulled up real fast. I wish I would have already had this pulled up, but let's see if we can find it real quick. Well, I got y'all on here under the news. Let's go under our news tab here. Here we go, Euro news. This is the Europe news. This just happened. Let me see, when was this? It wasn't, but just like a couple of days ago, last week or something, on the 13th, which was like last week. It was hosted in Madrid, too, of all places, the Madrid. That was the first place they hosted the first talks of a two-state solution way back a long time ago. Like years ago, whenever they was trying this junk before. And, but Arab, Turkish, and European officials discussed a two-state solution for Israel-Palestine and urgent humanitarian aid for Gaza. I think right now probably America voted against that thing at the UN because we're in the middle of a presidential election, and I think they know if they voted for that right now right before this election, it would end up causing that party to lose. So they're probably kind of just abstaining or something. I don't even know if they abstained or if they said straight up no. But I'm going to try to find the list of countries, though, of how they voted, who voted for what, because I'm telling you, those ones that voted for that at the UN yesterday, I would not want to be living in those countries at all. Let me tell you. God already laid down in his word what he was going to do whenever this happened. But these are a lot of the countries that met. I think that's that Saudi prince. Is that him? I can't tell if that's him or not. But, yeah, keep your eyes on Saudi Arabia. They're like one of the richest, absolute richest countries there is in the whole world. That family is one of the top 4 richest families in the whole world. But anyway, I'm going to get off of here, and I will talk to y'all later. Y'all just please stay in prayer and pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the peace that Christ can give them. I mean, because we already know what's going to come, but pray for Israel's repentance and protection, for God to protect them, which we know He will, because He already said in His Word that He would protect them. But it also says that land will be divided, and it'll be divided for gain. And then it tells what's the consequences of all the countries that divide it too. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get off of here. I love all of y'all guys, and I just wanted to keep y'all up on what's going on in the world, specifically with Jerusalem, because this is like huge news. But I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later.